She hadn't spoken his name in 15 years. But that winter afternoon, when the doctor said her daughter's heart needed a compatible donor, Hande knew silence had to die. And the man she feared seeing most was the only one who could save the only thing keeping her alive. Some letters are written without ink. They're written with the soul. And Hande had been writing the same one for 15 years without ever sending it. The January wind brushed through the curtains of a small apartment in Kadki. Hands trembled as she poured tea, while her daughter Zeynep tried to hide her exhaustion behind a faint smile. The doctors hadn't brought good news. Your daughter's heart won't survive another winter without a transplant, the doctor had said. Hande felt the weight of the world collapse on her shoulders. She had done everything alone: pregnancy, childbirth, fevers, tears, double nursing shifts, lies to her mother. Everything except for getting Kerem Aslan. Come on, Zeynep. Put on your coat. We're going to the hospital. The girl didn't ask questions. She knew something was wrong, but also knew her mother was a fortress. She had never seen her cry. On the other side of Istanbul, Kerem Aslan stared at his reflection in the top floor window of the Aslan Grand Hotel. He had inherited everything but peace. From his father, wealth. From his mother, sadness. On his desk sat a box of antique watches. All stopped. None told the time. His phone buzzed. It was Farid. There's someone asking for you downstairs. She says her name is Hande. Kerem froze. For the first time in 15 years, the world sounded like a clock ticking back to life. In the hotel lobby, Hande clutched a folder of medical results. She wasn't there for money. She came for truth. Kerem walked down the stairs slowly, eyes locked on hers. I thought you'd never look at me like that again, Hande whispered. I thought you'd never come back. I didn't come back. I came for her. Her, the daughter, the secret, the broken promise. Kerem stepped closer. Hande stepped back. She has your blood. And now, that might be the only thing that can save her. Silence between them was heavier than the years apart. That night, Kerem opened a drawer where he had kept a letter never sent. He wrote it the night Hande left, unaware someone had intercepted every message between them. From the hallway shadows, Farid watched them like someone staring at a wound she feared would heal too soon. I didn't know if I could be a father. But that night, Kerem understood. Sometimes love returns not to stay, but to make you choose. In the dim hospital room, Zeynep slept, connected to monitors. Kerem sat beside her for the first time. He stared at her like someone seeing a mirror he never knew existed. He took her hand. She woke up, confused. Are you the new doctor? Kerem said nothing. You have my eyes. It wasn't fate that tore them apart. It was fear disguised as protection. But when a daughter inherits an unfinished story, everything begins to rewrite itself. Zeynep kept staring at the unfamiliar face. Kerem had been silent for a while until she, with a voice cracked from sleep, said, If you're a doctor, you seem sad. Kerem smiled, as if every word from her opened a window in a house long closed. Sometimes, even doctors need healing. Hande, watched from the door. She didn't dare step in. There was something too vulnerable in that moment, to strangers, alike in too many ways. Gently brushing the edges of a past unknown. Days later, Kerem returned to the hospital with the compatibility test results. He walked to the hospital chapel, where Hande waited with her usual quiet strength. I'm compatible, but it's not just that. Hande, she looked up. I want to know her, not out of guilt, not out of duty, out of love, the kind I denied all my life. Hande pressed her lips together. Her soul wanted to embrace him, but her heart trembled in fear. She doesn't know who you are. I don't want you to become another absence. Kerem handed her a box. Inside were letters. These are yours. You never got them. But I never stopped writing. Someone made sure you never knew. She read the first letter in silence. Her hands shook. It was his handwriting. His soul. The Kerem she had loved. Outside, Faride watched from her tinted car window. Her face stone cold. Her plans beginning to crumble. That night, Zainab asked her mother, Mom, why does that doctor feel like someone I already know? Hande didn't answer. She just held her daughter tightly. In her mind, Kerem's voice echoed, I'm not the same, but I'm still yours. Faride walked into Kerem's room. She placed an old photo on the table. Kerem and Hande embracing in front of a small apartment in Ankara. On the back, written by Hande, if she knows the truth, you'll lose everything. Kerem clenched the photo, and for the first time in years he cried. Sometimes forgiveness doesn't come in words, but in actions. And sometimes it's only found in the eyes of a child. Kerem hadn't slept in days. The photograph Faride left haunted him like an open wound. He stormed into Faride's office that morning. How long have you been lying to me? I protected your future, Kerem. That woman would have dragged you into a mediocre life. I did you a favor. You took away the only thing that could have given my life meaning. He walked out without waiting for an answer. That same day, Kerem went to the hospital. In the therapy room, Hande sat by Zainab, who slept peacefully. He waited until Hande stepped out for coffee. He sat by Zainab's bedside. I don't know if you'll ever forgive me for coming too late, but I want you to know, from today on, I'm not going anywhere. Zainab slowly opened her eyes. She said nothing, then quietly extended her hand. Kerem held it, trembling in the hallway. Hande heard everything. Something inside her, frozen for years, began to thaw. Kerem, she said as he came out, if you're staying, it has to be for real. No more half promises. He nodded. I'll stay. As a man, as a father, as someone who still believes. We can start over. On the day of the transplant, the operating room gleamed under clean, white light. Zainab was taken in silence. Kerem signed the papers without hesitation. Hours later, a doctor emerged. The surgery was a success. Hande closed her eyes. The tears came without permission. Kerem took her hand for the first time since their reunion. Weeks later, Zainab walked through the hospital garden. Kerem followed a few steps behind. Look, Mom. He brought me a bicycle. Hande smiled from the window. At last, her daughter had something she never imagined, a second chance. Kerem and Hande walked together along the Bosphorus, the sky-dimmed dot in his hand. A letter. This was the last one. I never sent it. Hande opened it. She read. She cried. She embraced him. Where silence ends, home begins. And this time, no one will close the door again. The end.